really think you can get away with this?
Sunlight, filtered through delicate shears, cast a warm, inviting glow on the polished oak table, set with their finest porcelain. Elias, at 33, sat beside his fiancée, Lena, her dark hair a striking contrast to his often thoughtful demeanor. Across from them sat his younger sister, Clara, and her partner, Theo. To any casual observer, it was a tableau of serene domesticity. Yet beneath this seemingly idyllic surface, a different kind of tension simmered, a quiet but potent force waiting for its moment to boil over. The small talk meandered, touching on work updates, upcoming vacation plans, and the simple shared pleasures of the holiday season. But every so often, a quick, almost conspiratorial glance would pass between Elias and Lena, a silent exchange that seemed to hold a weighty secret. The air in the room thickened with this unspoken knowledge, and Clara, with her keen eye for detail, felt an invisible weight settle over the festive scene. Lena, a woman of vibrant energy and undeniable beauty, possessed a charm that was both her greatest asset and, at times, her unwitting undoing. She was a single mother to 2 children from a previous relationship, a young boy named Leo and a girl named Isla. While Clara and her parents had always maintained a cordial relationship with Lena and her children, a true closeness had never blossomed. Their interactions remained polite, formal, and distant, a fragile truce built on mutual respect rather than genuine affection. As the conversation lulled, Lena, with an abrupt shift in her posture, leaned forward, her voice dropping to a serious, almost confrontational tone. "Elias told me about the prenuptial agreement," she began, her words slicing through the peaceful atmosphere like a sharp knife. Her gaze swept across the table, landing pointedly on Clara, then on her parents. The room instantly fell silent, the gentle clinking of cutlery ceasing altogether, the only sound the faint tick-tock of a grandfather clock in the hall. Elias shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "Lena, we can talk about this later. It's Easter," he pleaded, his voice a low murmur. "No," she insisted, her voice gaining a sharp, unyielding edge. "I want to talk about it now. We need to be absolutely clear about this. You're asking me to sign something that explicitly states my children will be treated differently from any children we might have together. That, Elias, is simply not what a family does." Clara felt a slow, simmering burn of frustration begin to ignite within her. This particular conversation, or rather the understanding behind it, was a long-standing family pact. A quiet, unspoken agreement that had existed for generations. Their family assets, the thriving business, the ancestral property, were meticulously preserved for their direct lineage. Elias's decision to opt for a prenup was not a personal affront to Lena, rather a continuation of this deeply ingrained legacy. It was a practical matter, Clara reasoned, not a personal one. "But you're my family now, aren't I?"
Lena countered, her voice now undeniably rising, a tremor of indignation beneath her words. "Leo and Isla are going to be your grandchildren. They should have the same rights as everyone else." Clara's patience, always a finite resource, began to fray. She saw with stark clarity Lena's strategic maneuver, an attempt to weaponize the emotional weight of family to circumvent a logical, well-thought-out financial plan. "Lena," Clara stated, her voice remarkably steady and calm, despite the anger beginning to churn within her. "When you and Ilis get married, you will indeed be our in-law, and your children will be Ilis' stepchildren. But that doesn't change the fundamental fact that they are not a part of our direct bloodline. My children and Ilis' future biological children are the only ones who will inherit from our family." Lena looked genuinely shocked, as if Clara had just uttered an unspeakable profanity. "That's so cruel," she whispered, her voice laced with disbelief. "They're just kids. You're treating them like strangers." Clara's chest tightened, a sharp pang of defensive anger. "Are my future children entitled to anything from your family, Lena? From your parents or their biological father's family?" Lena scoffed, a short, dismissive sound. "Of course not. That's their family's money." "Exactly," Clara retorted, the word a sharp, precise strike. then why would you expect my family's assets to be any different? The argument escalated, each word a further brick in the wall rising between them. Lena accused them of being greedy and heartless, of failing to embrace her children as their own. She insisted, with growing fervor, that they should be treated equally, regardless of their parentage. Ilis, trapped squarely between his fiancée and his family, pleaded with Lena to cease the escalating confrontation. The once peaceful dinner table had been irrevocably transformed into a battlefield of words, with plates of untouched food serving as silent, sorrowful witnesses to the unfolding drama. We are here to celebrate Easter, Lena, not to argue about inheritance, Ilis stated, his voice strained and heavy with despair. Let's just drop it. But Lena, now entirely consumed by her indignation, was relentless. No, we need to settle this once and for all. It's not fair to my children. They will be a part of this family and they should have equal rights. Everything is clear from our perspective, Clara stated, her voice now flat, final, and devoid of all emotion. It's only you who has a problem. Her face flushed a deep crimson, a clear sign of her mounting fury. You're cruel, she spat, her voice trembling with barely contained emotion. Greedy and cruel to some innocent children, Clara snapped. The accusation, so utterly unfair and baseless, was the final, breaking straw. Then deal with it, Lena, she said, her voice dropping to a low, dangerous register, a simmering threat beneath the calm. You can work for your children. You can build your own assets and leave them a legacy, but you will never divide our family's inheritance. My children are not your children's problem, and your children are not our family's financial burden. The words hung in the air, raw and painfully true, shattering the last vestiges of civility. Lena, her face a mask of incandescent fury and profound humiliation, pushed away from the table. She looked at Ilis, her eyes wide and wet, a silent plea for him to finally take her side, to defend her. But Ilis remained silent, his face a grim, stony mask. He knew, deep down, that his family was not in the wrong. He was simply terrified of what this truth would ultimately mean for their relationship, for their future. Lena stormed out of the house, the front door slamming shut behind her with a resounding crash, the sound an echoing testament to the fragile family peace that had just been irrevocably broken. The room was silent once more, but this time it was a cold, desolate quiet. The lamb lay cooling on the platter, the festive atmosphere long since evaporated. Clara looked at her brother, who still hadn't moved, his eyes fixed at the door where Lena had vanished. She felt a complex mix of anger and sorrow. She had spoken the truth, a harsh truth, that she believed absolutely needed to be said. But she also knew with a sinking certainty that this was far more than a simple family squabble. It was a profound test of loyalty and a fundamental clash of values, and its echoes would undoubtedly ripple through their family, perhaps for a very long time to come.